Hi there, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to the Performance Centre here at Howley Hall Golf Club. My name is Ryan Rastall, PGA professional and equipment expert for Golfshake.com. If you're new to this YouTube channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, see loads more content from all of us here at Golfshake to help you play more and play better. It's that time of year again where new product is being thrown at us thick and fast, and today it's Cobra's turn. We've got the new DS-ADAPT Drivers to take a look at. So while I have a bit of a look at these, have a look at some of the pictures. Yeah, so we've got 4 different driver heads to talk about. So lots of technology as well that's come out this year, that's slight kind of adaptations, hence the name, from the Dark Speed or DS driver that was out previously. So the adaptations and kind of all the changes really center around the way that this is easier to fit to the consumer. So the biggest kind of technological change that Cobra have introduced is the Future Fit 33 system. What the heck is that? Well, if we take a look at this hosel, Cobra's had the same hosel for a while with 8 different settings on it. Now we have 33 different settings. So kind of a dual cog system like we see in the Callaway drivers that have been out for a while, where we can change letters and numbers basically that we match up, and there are 33 different settings on these drivers in order to really tune them in for everybody. Basically, we've got 4 different heads, so once you know what type of head you need, we've got different weighting options in them as well, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But then we've obviously can really fine tune that with the Future Fit 33. All of these drivers feature extreme aerodynamics, so whether we go from the Max D model all the way to the LS, the aerodynamics has been changed. Some of the shaping in the heads, basically some of the mass taken out of this neck section, some of the heads changed in terms of their geometry as well, to really make sure they move through the air quicker than they did in the previous model. So we should get a bit more club head speed, and hopefully that translates into ball speed. We've got a new custom beam inside the head. You can't see this, but it's almost it's a fixed piece inside the head there that moves the CG forward, helps to lower the spin and basically change the characteristics of the ball flight ever so slightly. The HotFace technology has been updated as well. So we've got thicker and thinner areas on there to maximize ball speed, particularly on off-center hits. You can see the actual look of the face has changed a bit as well. So we've got kind of these score lines in the heel and the toe, kind of framing the center of the face a little bit better. This was feedback from some of their tour players, and also I just think it looks a lot better as well, to be honest. When you sit it down in that playing position, you can really see where the face is aiming, and almost you can see the differences a little bit more when we do change some of the loft and lie settings on the Future Fit 33 as well. So I think that's a really nice feature to this. And so we'll start with the LS. You can see here, we've got 3 movable weights here, heel and toe, and then extreme in the back there. So we can obviously, if we want to, move the CG a little bit further back with the heavier weight. So we've got 2 3 grams and a 10 gram in this driver. What I've actually done before we actually hit these is I've tried to kind of fit these into my golf swing basically, so trying to alter the loft and also where the weights are so that I get the best performance out of each one when I do this test. In the LS model, I've put the weight a little bit more towards the toe because my bad one tends to go a little bit left, so I've got the lighter weight in the heel and at the back there. This should make it extremely low spin. Maybe I will suffer a little bit forgiveness wise, but to be honest, I think this driver looks amazing, and certainly behind the ball it's probably one of the nicest drivers I've seen in a long time. I think it's very, very kind of classic and understated, not a lot going on the crown. I really like the more kind of matte sort of finish on the top there. I think that's really, really good. But yeah, I think this is a really, really nice looking driver, and certainly this kind of carbon fiber kind of element to it as well, I think makes it look good. When we move to the X model, so this is probably the one that is going to be the most kind of mainstream. This and one of the others that we're going to talk about in a second kind of fit in that middle ground a little bit. And the X model has a back and a front weight there as well. So again, 10 grams, 3 grams that we can shift around to really move the CG and alter the flight. I've put the 10 gram at the front there. All of these are 10.5 heads that I've got here, but I've lofted them down ever so slightly and also flattened the lie a little bit to help open the face up for me ever so slightly too. So these are all playing around the sort of 9.5 degree mark and also about a degree flat. When we move into, we'll start with Max D. So Max D is obviously the draw bias version. Again, we have a heel weight at 10 grams, which is interchangeable, but not it's only one weight put in the head, so we can get heavier and lighter weights in there should we want to kind of increase or decrease the draw bias. But yeah, it's a kind of very forgiving draw bias model. Obviously the footprint is very different. There's a bit of like a offset kind of draw bias look to it as well behind the ball, which some of you will like, some of you will not, and I completely appreciate that. But yeah, the cosmetics very much the same on the top there as well. And then we're going to move into a brand new model. So high MOI drivers have really been the kind of in vogue thing in the last couple of seasons. Cobra have jumped in there with the Max K in the DS-ADAPT range. So Max K, maximum forgiveness, highest MOI that we're going to get, and certainly when they have tested this against other high MOI drivers on the market, it performs very well. So in terms of how the face twists, Cobra have done some research in kind of a 1-inch miss out the toe, and it's about a degree better at staying squarer than probably the leading 10K driver out there on the market. So we're expecting some extreme forgiveness with this. We should be hitting this driver pretty straight. We've got all the other technology involved in there with the HotFace, the carbon crown, and also being able to adjust it just in the same way. So really excited to try this one and see how it goes. We've obviously got a big footprint on this driver as well, so loads and loads of forgiveness, and will really fill you with confidence stood over the ball. So that is the 4 drivers that Cobra are releasing for 2025. Now let's go and hit some shots with them. We're going to start with Max D, okay? So obviously the draw bias, probably the most forgiving model that we've got here. It sounds pretty powerful. A little bit at the bottom, that one, but yeah, a little bit left, which is what we're expecting with this model. Probably going to turn it over a little bit because of the draw bias, but again, it feels decent off the face, easy to get in the air, and just kind of guarding against that one that goes left all the time, which, like I say, is kind of what you expect with this model. That's what it's designed to do. You know, it's trying to help that player who cuts it out to the right all the time, and unfortunately that's not me. Generally my bad one's the other way, so this is probably going to make that worse. So the next one is the Max K. Again, similar geometry to the D, but without that kind of offset sort of look to the neck. It's a little bit nicer looking than that one is. Still quite long from sort of front to the back, so let's see how we go. It feels very good off the face. Definitely more solid than the Max did. So that's why I've just pushed it straight down the right hand side. But yeah, it's in play, it's okay. It's still on the fairway, which we'll take. But yeah, I mean, it's quite big, quite similar look to the Max D, but like I say, without that kind of offset neck that we saw there, but certainly very, very consistent. I've not really hit those two particularly good. I'm obviously going to hit a load more, but certainly they go pretty straight. Right, we're going to try the X model, okay? So I've moved the weight forward in this, shifting the CG even further forward, and again, we've got the Denali black shaft in it as well. So let's have a few hits and see how this performs. A little bit nicer shape this. It's still nice and rounded, still looks quite sort of confidence inspiring, I suppose. Let's see how it performs. Yeah, it feels good as well off the face. Very, very nice. Yep, we'll take that one. Yeah, decent distance as well. Ball speed's good. Certainly a little bit more than what we were seeing with the previous 2 models that we've hit, but yeah, certainly looks and feels a little bit more powerful. Again, very good. Just pulled it a little bit, but still fine, still a good shot. So yeah, it definitely feels a bit more solid. I like the look of it a bit more behind the ball as well. When you sit it behind the golf ball, it kind of frames it a little bit better. It's hard to describe really, but kind of looks a bit more traditional shape, I suppose, which is probably why I like it. Right, let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to hit the LS. Now, of the 4 models, this one is different league in terms of how it looks behind the ball. This looks more traditional, I suppose. The shape is lovely, really nice kind of pear shape, if you like. Really like the look of the crown. Just looks that bit smaller and a bit more compact, which I really like. Let's see how it performs. If it's anything like last year's, it's going to be amazing. Oh, it feels really good. Have I just turn that one over a little bit? Nope, straight down the middle. That's got miles. Wow. Yeah, I mean, straight away, it just feels so much better. Like night and day better. For me, that is. It's probably not going to suit the majority, but I just feel like I can hit it harder. The spin has dropped ridiculously and the distance has gone up as well. I've literally hit one ball. So yeah, I'm expecting this to perform just as well as last year's did. It feels, and I've literally hit one shot, but the forgiveness seems to have improved a little bit and the feel off the face seems to have improved a little bit. Let's just hit a couple more. Again, just feels so good. Be interesting to see how this compares. Once I've hit 10, 15 more balls, how it compares to all the others, and then we'll take a bit of a look at the results. Okay, so now we've had a bit of a hit, let's take a look at the results. So if we start with Max D, we can see average carry 271 and 289 total. Now we can see the reason for that is spin, okay? It's launching a little higher than all the others and spinning considerably more, okay? So it's kind of stalling in the air a little bit. It was also, like I said, when I was hitting it, that kind of more right to left bias, which is exactly what it's aimed to do. And to be honest, in terms of the ball flight, I would expect it to go the highest. Now, it has to be said, all these drivers are set exactly the same loft and also in the same kind of slightly flatter setting. So I've tried to almost undraw bias it a little bit in order to help me hit it straighter, but I still found it was so easy to turn over from right to left. So for those of you out there with a slice, and maybe those that hit down on the ball a bit and don't really launch it, this driver could be absolutely amazing. We'll move up to the Max K, right? So this is a driver, you know, over the sort of testing that we've done, and you can check out other videos we've done on the channel with the likes of the QI10 driver, the Max 10K one that came out last year, as well as the Ping. So we've done videos on both of those, and the results I'm seeing here kind of, you know, mirror that as well. I generally spin the ball a hell of a lot with those high MOI drivers, which is exactly what we're doing here, over 3,000 RPM. The ball speed was better than the Max K, the distance was better than the Max K, so we're seeing, even though I've actually swung it a little slower with that, and the reason being, it just felt a bit kind of cumbersome, I suppose. The heads in both Max D and Max K just look absolutely ginormous to me, and particularly the K, sorry, the D just looked massively draw biased. So I was kind of reluctant to swing them kind of at the speed that I normally would. The club just felt a little bit unbalanced, which I guess they're going to for me, because they're not designed for someone who swings it like me and the sort of speed that I swing it at, and also the kind of delivery position I get into. So we're not expecting those to perform best. I'm not saying they're worse than the other models, but they don't perform as well for me. They could perform fantastically well for you. And particularly the Max K, the one thing I would say, it was very difficult not to hit it straight, okay? It went down the middle a hell of a lot. Yes, sacrificed a few yards, but we're still hitting it over 300 yards there as an average, and yeah, just very, very straight. And the ball speed was pretty good, so 169 versus 166 against the Max D. When we then move into the X model, okay, now we're getting that little bit more ball speed again. The spin comes down. Remember, I moved the weight more into the front of this driver to help me with that. As a result, I think I was a bit more confident in hitting this and kind of swung it a little bit more aggressively. So we can see the club head speed has got up to the sort of speed I was hitting with the Max D. And in doing that, you know, we've picked up a few yards. So we can see there were 303 versus 312 with the X there. So a nice little jump of, you know, kind of 9 yards-ish really, model on model. Now, when we come to the LS, right? So last year when we tried the original Dark Speed series, the LS driver was just off the charts in terms of how far it went, purely because the spin was extremely low. We've got a bit more spin with this because the model I've got this year is actually a little bit more lofted than the one I had last year, but I think it actually suits me a bit better. If we look at the spin rate, 2265 as an average, and you can see the distance increase is just ridiculous. Yes, I've swung it quicker, I absolutely have, purely because the head was more compact. Honestly, I said at the start of the video, but the head in this driver is probably the nicest looking I've seen for a long, long time. I think it looks exceptionally good behind the ball, and it's certainly one that I think I'll consider using for the 2025 season because it just looks great behind the ball. The thing that Cobra have done with this driver is make it slightly more forgiving, which was probably the only negative about last year's LS driver, is that when you didn't hit the middle of the face, it could go anywhere. And because the spin was quite low, it was just shooting off, left, right, everywhere. Obviously, there's 4 different driver heads now to suit very different kind of delivery patterns, spins, launches, swing characteristics. There's something for everybody here. Let us know what you think about these drivers. Will you be switching yours in 2025? And do you like the look of them? Please get in the comments. We love hearing from you, and keep watching all of our content on the Golfshake YouTube channel to help you play more and play better. See you next time.